Hey everyone, it's Mojaxx back in the DJ City UK lab. Today I've got some quick tips on CDJs and Rekordbox. Let's get busy. Now most of these tips rely on technology in the Nexus range of players, so the 2000 Nexus, 900 Nexus and the XDJ 1000. But this first tip will apply to anything that will let you link two players together with the Ethernet connection and let you recall memory points. Not hot queues, so you can do it with an original 900, do it with a 900 Nexus, you've got your memory points there that you will set in Rekordbox. So what I'm trying to do here is kind of recreate instant doubles, because that's one thing that is missing from Rekordbox, is where you have instant doubles. So I'm playing a track, load it over here and it will play from the same point. That doesn't exist as a feature. But if there are tracks that you know that you rock doubles of on a regular basis, what you need to do is just a little bit of prep. So you go in advance and you'll set yourself memory points a bit further down the track, maybe than you actually need to. So on this one, I've got my initial cue point. I've got when it kind of kicks in a little bit there, 16 bars in, then 32 bars in. When it actually drops, I've got another one set there as well. And it could be at any point where you might want to start your doubles or your juggle, whatever you're going to do. So in this case, I'm going to start it playing. And I don't want to scroll through all my playlists and try and find that track quickly to get to the right point. All we do is hit the tag track button up on the top. So we hit that there, and that adds it to the tag list on both players, or all four players if you've got them there linked up. So I'm going to hit tag list, load the track up from that, and I'm going to jump to my third cue point, make sure my pitch is at the same point. And it's ready to go, and I'm going to skip to it. And there you go. So you're ready to do your little technique, your little sort of routine that you've got worked out. You can do that in advance. You've just got to plan those memory points out in advance and you're ready to go. But that tag list is very, very useful. Use it as your prepare list, but also if you need to double stuff across, that's the way to do it. Now the second tip does rely on having these more modern players, because you want something that's going to let you load your actual settings to the player when you load it up. So for example, I'm just going to put that on there and I'm just going to load up that SD card again. And when it's loaded up, I can click onto it and it will show me my settings data was found, hit the menu button to load it up. So all my settings have now loaded. And one of the settings that you didn't get in the first generation of Rekordbox players was the ability to have continuous or single play mode. So in this one, I can choose between single and continuous. And what continuous play is, it basically puts it so when you've got a list of tracks, be that a playlist, or you're going through by track or by artist or whatever, if I actually load this track up now, and it's at the beginning, and if I pull back and scratch, it's going to go back into the previous track. Which, if you've got a track which starts right at the very beginning of the file and you're trying to scratch in, it's going to cause you problems, especially if you've got auto cue on. You'll often find it'll just all of a sudden, you'll go to drop it in and it'll be just frozen. It won't be playing because it's auto cued. Again, it thinks you've loaded another track. So having that single play is a massive boon, especially for open format DJs and people like that who are scratching stuff in at the start. If you're using the vinyl mode, you want that single play mode. So set that in your preferences in Rekordbox, export it to all your media. But if you haven't done that, do it on the player itself with the 2000 Nexus and the more recent ones than that. Single play mode is an absolute real killer, a really important one to have. Now the third one is quite a cool feature in Rekordbox. I'm really digging this. Basically, it's the ability that it has to load a track from the first memory point. So rather than the auto cue being the first bit of audio that it finds, now you can actually set your first memory point in the Rekordbox software, export that to your USB or your SD card, and whenever you load that track, it will load from that point. And not only that, but if you set a loop as your first memory point as well, and you can have a regular memory point and a loop at the same precise time, as soon as you load that up, it will load into your loop. So this one, I've set a loop right at the beginning, I've saved it as a memory point, and every time I load this track up, it's in my 8-beat loop. So that makes quick mixing and really fast transitions really, really sweet. If you know you're going to want to load this in a loop, if it's an old track that you haven't got from DJ City, so you've got no intro edit, you want to do a quick loop at the beginning to get it mixed in properly, absolutely superb feature. And you can't do that with Serato or with Traktor. Of course, you can load a saved loop, but this one will load it as soon as that track hits the player it's into the loop, and that's really, really sweet. Obviously, if you don't want to use the loop on this particular occasion, you just hit Q and you just hit the reloop/exit button, and that will take you out of the loop and you're just playing as normal. Alternatively, of course, you can then jump to your other key point that you've set there as well, your other memory point, and you've got the choice then to go between your loop or just a regular key point. It's really quick, it's really simple, and there's nothing really you need to think about with it. It just works nice and straightforward. The final tip that I've got is, again, memory points and loop related, but this one is kind of overlooked by a lot of people. I don't think people realize it's in there. Basically, you've got the ability to save a loop as a memory point. So I've done that towards the end of this track, but in this case, I've gone in and I've clicked on the memory point and I've clicked on the little loop button and turned it red, and that means every time the track reaches this point in the track, the loop comes on automatically. Now you can use this for a couple of different things. You can use it as a kind of emergency fail-safe. So if you've got a track that you often kind of lose the ending on and you run out of time, you can have a loop automatically kick in at the end of it there if the track is too short or something like that. Again, extending your outro rather than extending your intro. The other thing to do as well, you can have it as a creative use. So you can have it so when you get to just before the end or just before a big drop, you can have one beat just looping over and over until you hit the exit button, and then the track kicks in at the moment of your choosing. It's a very nice feature to have. You can only have one in every track that will play automatically. So you can have multiple loops saved within the track, but you can only have one that will play automatically in there. So you've got to think carefully about which one you want to have in there. But again, having that facility there to have a loop that just loads on its own without any intervention from you is a pretty cool feature. So there we go, a few quick tips on CDJs and Rekordbox. I really do think the Rekordbox ecosystem is growing, it's still developing. I've just come back from Ibiza where laptops just aren't seen out there at all. Apart from a few of the big guys using Tractor, it's all about SD cards, USB sticks, people just rocking up, because there's a real simplicity to it, especially with multiple DJs playing on a night and so on. It's really easy to manage. And there is a lot of depth there as well. If you want to get really into it, there's a lot of features that you can bring over from the sort of laptop world and bring them to the CDJs, and they do work and they're quite simple to use. So let us know in the comments if you want to see more Rekordbox stuff, less Rekordbox stuff, what kind of stuff you want to see on it, because I'm happy to go deeper into it if you want to. Thank you very much for watching today. Make sure you subscribe for all our future tips, tricks, and product reviews. I'll see you soon.